And you're set to go.
Okay, terrific. Let's call the meeting to order. It's 8:36 on March 1st. So typically during our policy meetings, we review our minutes from the previous meeting. We did that at our last kind of, I don't want to call it an emergency policy meeting, but our sudden policy meeting. So we don't need to review minutes. We'll have those minutes from that meeting at our next regularly scheduled meeting to review. So we can just go straight to the agenda, which is a discussion of some of the policies that we have listed on our website as frequently visited or frequently used, referred to policies. And we were going to have a discussion of incorporating inclusive language where necessary into those policies. So we'll start with that. Jody and Lisa, have you received any other updates from Shipman and Goodwin as part of their, just general updates on
No,
policies
I have
recently?
not.
Okay, I asked them to include me. I haven't received anything either. That's why I just wanted to make sure I'm actually on the listserv. Okay. All right, so we'll wait. So we have no state required or federally required changes to any policies at this time. So that leaves us this meeting, which we have until 9 o'clock, to go through the language of these policies. So the first one that is attached is bullying prevention, 5131.911.
Oh, that was frustrating. Sorry, guys.
Oh, no problem, Sharon. We have until 9 o'clock because Lisa and I have another meeting at 9.
Yeah. For some odd reason, I had to go through the process of downloading Google Meetups, the app. Like, this has just been so inconsistent. It's driving me nuts. Anyway, sorry.
No problem. So we are just starting to go through the policies that are attached to Board Book regarding inclusive language. We've already discussed just briefly that there are no other updates to any policies at this time that we've received from our outside counsel regarding federally required or state required changes. So for this meeting, all we have on our agenda is this topic. So we're starting with 5131.911, which is a bullying prevention and intervention policy. So, the policy is, let's see, how many pages is it? 1, 2, 4 pages long. So, what I was kind of doing on my own here is I've just typed in the words that we have from our outside counsel's document into the finder function at the top, and then we can just try and replace them.
Sure.
Did we get a copy of the outside counsel, or that's just you who has it, Melissa? Because I've read through the policies that were sent to us, but I didn't see anything specific from our outside counsel.
That was on our last.
That was the last meeting.
The last meeting they gave us in the last meeting, we had.
Yeah, we went over it.
Yeah, I had it attached as a.
Okay.
As a, I don't know.
Specifically for bullying, right?
It's February 1st meeting. It had discussion regarding incorporating inclusive language into Board of Education policies.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was thinking we were specifically talking about the bullying policy.
No, what we talked about was having to do this for basically all of our policies, and it's it's kind of a heavy lift. So we were thinking maybe the best strategy is to pick up the most used and frequently referred to policies.
Right.
So, the trick is, how we want to go about accomplishing this. So, what we can do on these policies, which is just search these words, his, her, he, she, man-made, man, woman, son, daughter, chairman, minority, homeless, disabled, parent, and grandfather. Those are the kind of the words that our outside counsel sent to us, and just replace them with the words they've said. But then we're in a situation where we're using potentially grammatically incorrect phrasing, which we don't want to do either.
Right.
So, I don't know if it makes the most sense. It seems like a waste of everyone's time to sit here and, go through these word by word. I wonder if a better strategy is to figure out who the best placed person is to go through and do almost like without any thought, like a direct red line, replacing the words with the words from Jessica's document. And then we can, as a committee, come back and analyze that and what makes sense. Because, I can tell you right now that there's going to need to be some language changes. I mean, you can't just stick,
Right.
It's not going to flow right. There's going to need to be changes. So I don't know, Lisa, Jody, what do you think?
Normally I would say, oh, Jody could help us with this. However, she's in the midst of doing hours of FOIA every week with June Coriano.
Yeah.
I just want to interrupt you for one moment. I have an outside public person that wants to join in, so I'm just going to let them in.
Oh, fantastic. Okay.
You want to repeat that, Lisa?
Well, hang on. Let's let the member of the public join before.
Yeah.
it takes a
Oh,
second.
sorry.
Okay. Oh, it's Elena. Hi, Elena.
Hi,
Welcome.
Morning.
We are just going through the agenda, Elena, of
Sorry, I was on mute. Good morning. I'm just
Yeah.
going
Good morning.
no problem. The agenda for this meeting is discussing of inclusive language inclusion in some of our most frequently used policies. So we're not, you're welcome to stay for any policy meeting, but there's nothing on the agenda for the mask mandates. I know that's an issue that's important to you. So I just wanted to let you know that, but you're welcome to stay and listen, and we'll accept public comment at the end if you have anything to say on this topic. Also, we're concluding at 9:00 just because Lisa and I have another meeting to attend to. Okay, so back to the bullying policy. What,
I
I
mean,
I'm
I
just
think
trying to
that,
be pragmatic in terms of all of our time and energy, as to how best to tackle this, because I don't think we need, 5 people to go through a document one at a time,
No.
looking for these words and then replacing it. I think it's probably most useful if we discuss as a committee a red line document that shows the suggested changes, and then we can discuss, hey, this one doesn't quite make sense, or the language here isn't right, we're going to have to make some other changes. But I don't want to burden the administration with finding somebody to do that, because like we said, this isn't urgent. It's certainly something that we care about as a district and we want to prioritize, but
I think we can get there because, like, as I said, my concern is that I think that a support staff person here in central office can help us with that, just not probably at this time. Like within this month, because of some other things that we have to get done. And as I said before, we have over 30,000 emails that still have to be redacted for FOIA and upcoming hearings and everything else. So I think that I agree.
no, I think that's a
I
priority.
think that when we come, what I would like to see moving forward, if you're guys are okay with it, is that we at each meeting, at each policy meeting, have a standing agenda item where we bring forward one of the red line policies, and then we go through it and do what we need to do to correct it.
Right.
You think that would be a better use of our time than, because I'm looking at it here, and every time you see the word student, you see his, you see her, you have all of these things, and there's a lot to get through, and all of us sitting here and circling these words, that's not good.
Yeah.
Would it make sense? I mean, and I don't know as a new board member whether or not this is overstepping, but would it make sense if each of us took one policy and did the red line of that policy, sent it to the remaining board members, and then we could discuss and we could get through 5 policies in one meeting, kind of thing? If we could if everybody will have taken a look at the red lines that the other has done, and we could say yes, that looks great, or no, there needs to be a change. I mean, just to try to lighten to take the burden off of the administrative staff. If each of us does one policy, that shouldn't be overwhelming. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're starting to get into, what is the role of the board versus the role of the administration of
it.
the school district. So it's, I certainly don't mind.
Yeah.
I redline documents all day long.
Yeah, I don't mind either, but I don't
but-
want to.
I
I
think
think
it's
we're
setting a
starting to put-
precedent with, actually, you guys aren't supposed to do the work. We're supposed to do the
okay.
work. You're here as
All right.
governance board. As much as I
Glad to help.
appreciate, that's like one of the selectmen said, oh, I can help redact documents for you. I certainly appreciate volunteers. I just, I want to be respectful of people's time. This is
Right.
what I propose, that we go through and set up what would be helpful is, this is one thing that we could do, is to set up a calendar, look at all this. We'll start with the student policies, I guess is probably the best. Say, over, because this is a long haul project, say which policies we're going to look at, which upcoming meeting that we have realistically. And then, I'm sure for the next meeting, we could figure out how to get, at least get it rolling, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So Jody and I can do that. We'll go through all of basically it's looking at all the student policies and assigning specific meeting dates of when we want to review them. My question is once they've been edited,
Mhm.
and they're not really being edited for, I don't know, they're being edited really for grammar, or lack of a better word. Do they still have to go 2 times before
Yeah.
the Board of Ed?
They
Okay.
do.
So it would be
They
good
do.
to do it in clumps then.
Probably, but I also think, keep in mind, like the existing policy is still on the books and there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, in terms
Right.
of its substance. So there's no gap in, like
Exactly.
there's a
So there's
bullying
no,
issue. You
like-
still have a policy that's covering it. It just may not have the language.
Yeah, there's no rush. It's really, we have to get it done.
Yes.
I would love to be next year at this time, done with all the student ones and then moving into the next.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
I do think, just in terms of some of the, like the language, there could be some discussion related to some of this at some of these meetings. So I don't want us to bite off more than we can chew, especially the first couple. I mean, it may make sense for the first meeting for it just maybe to do 1 or 2. We may not get through it all because these are bringing up bigger community-wide issues, and they're also bringing up
Yes. Yes.
grammatical issues. I mean, we are a
Yes.
school district. It is our number one focus is to educate our children. And I personally do not want to have policies on the books that are grammatically incorrect. They may be inclusive, but they're grammatically incorrect. So
exactly.
we have
And
to
that's-
find a way to
Yeah.
change entire sentence structures as necessary to accomplish both goals.
Well, the tricky thing is changing entire sentence structure without changing the meaning of the sentence for
Exactly.
sentences that are written by legal professionals for the most part. For a non-legal person to do that makes it a little trickier.
Right. But I think, I'm a lawyer. I certainly can
Right.
lend my insight. And I think, if we're getting to a subject that we want, we can send it to Jessica as necessary. And, keep in mind, these are read at our public board meetings. And if anybody has any comments or questions from the public, we certainly welcome and hear their comments as well. So I think that's probably a good strategy. I'm very sensitive to overburdening the administration. So, please, Lisa, Jody, whoever's tackling this, try what I would suggest for the first go through is just this is what I was doing when I was looking at this prior to this meeting, is I just there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 11 clauses, words from Jessica's letter to us to watch out for. And I just put them in the search bar at the top and it brought them up highlighted. And then I had it open as a Word. You can open it as a Word document and then just change it as a red line. And I would put no thought into it. This first cut that's coming to us as a committee as a red line should require, it should just be a simple exchanging a word for a word. And if it doesn't make any sense, that's fine. That's why we're going to have a policy committee discussion of it. So in fact, if it doesn't make sense, that almost makes our job easier because you've highlighted areas
Right.
we really need to focus on. So it should be very mechanical for the administration, and then we'll put the thought and analysis into it as a committee.
Okay, so the next meeting is April 5th. I just
Okay.
checked.
Okay.
So then how about the ones that we've discussed
Let's-
these? Now, on April 5th, we strive to do
Well,
these
let's-
3 on April 5th,
Let me see how long these are.
or at least two of them. I also
Yeah,
want
the
to.
first one, I think the bullying I forget the number, let me look. 5131.911 is kind of an important one and it's not too long. So I think that one could work. The 513, the regulation associated with that
Yeah.
is a bit longer and is also older.
Right.
I think may not have been reviewed as recently. So that one we can try. But this is the one, the regulation is the one that has the form. So I'm just looking
Yes.
at the form real quick to see if I see any. Because that's going to be important because that's what people will be filling out.
I
Yeah,
don't
let's-
see anything.
It looks okay to me.
Yeah, I didn't notice anything.
Okay. All right. So then, maybe we just aim for those two and see how it goes.
Okay.
There's a lot of forms related to that, the reporting of forms and stuff. So, and you use your judgment, Lisa, Jody. If doing the first one takes forever and there's a lot to discuss, then just do that. We'll talk about it next meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
So we will redline any concern, anything that pops on that language from the inclusive language thing. That will redline it.
Yeah, I think that.
Do we
makes sense.
redline it or do we change it?
I would change it as a red line.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. Change as a red line. Okay. All right. We can do that.
Because if you save it as a red line, then it we'll have the original still, and then we can compare it. The
Yeah.
red line will be easiest for us to look at.
I get it. All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Yep. I appreciate that
Okay.
clarification.
Any other thoughts on that? Is that good? Everyone's on board with that strategy?
Yep.
Okay.
Good.
All right. Well, in the interest of time, let me just make sure, since we do have a member of the public at our committee meeting, see if she has any comments, and then we'll just conclude in time for Lisa and I to get to our 9:00. Elena, did you want to make a public comment for our?
No, thank you. Sorry, guys. Yep. Lisa and Jody, if you guys need help, I don't know if it's appropriate, but I'd be willing to help on this task, whatever I can. So,
Thank you. We appreciate that.
yep. Okay. Thank you very much. I don't have any other comments.
Okay, terrific.
Thanks.
We'll meet again in April, everybody. So let's have a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion.
Okay, terrific. Thanks.
Thanks, everyone. Sorry about my tardiness.
Oh, no problem.
I was late too, 5 minutes. Don't worry.
Okay.
Bye.
All right. Thanks.
Okay,
Bye, guys.
see you guys soon.